In 2026, your content doesn't just need to be clickable, it needs to be bingeable. So how do you create content that is binge-worthy? I am a Writers Guild Award-winning creator and producer who got her start right here on YouTube. I've been creating content for 15 years for companies like NBCUniversal, AOL, PBS, Sony Music, and I am going to break down exactly what you need to do to build a bingeable brand. In 2026, going viral is overrated. You need to be binge-worthy. YouTube is the #1 TV streaming service and also the #2 search engine, so that means storytelling on YouTube has become multi-platform. That's right. But what does it take to become binge-worthy? A good TV show has a couple of things: good characters, lots of conflict, and a strong narrative. But you say, Daryn, I'm an entrepreneur, not a TV producer. Well, let's break down how you can do that on your channel. First up, as the founder of your brand, you are the leading character of your brand. As a reluctant personal brand myself, when you first get started, it doesn't feel great. You feel a little awkward. You feel a little vulnerable. But here's the thing. I'm going to break down exactly how you can bring some leading character energy. A good TV character always has a good backstory. They always do. If you don't have a backstory, I actually have a free backstory builder. It is a 5-step backstory builder. So you can grab that link in my description and you can use that to build out your backstory. At its most simple, a YouTube backstory has a pain point, a pivot, and a promise. You have a pain point that you pivoted to work through, and then a promise that you're making to a viewer that is also suffering from that same pain point, that they can make the same pivot. That is a good backstory. The other thing that bite-sized backstory does is it establishes a channel narrative. It establishes a larger transformation that you are talking about on your channel. So they have an idea that this isn't just one video that's solving one problem. There's a journey. There's a whole world of videos. There's a whole experience of videos that they can get on your channel. It is the big transformation that you are either going through, that your viewer is going to go through as they watch your content. Your backstory is really your purpose. Now, in a good television show, there's something working against that purpose. There is conflict. There's something making that purpose a challenge. And that is what you need, because a good TV show has lots and lots of conflict. But you're like, Daryn, I don't know what my conflict is. What is my conflict? I don't want to overshare. I don't know how to approach this. Well, the conflict on your channel is not necessarily a big bad villain, but it is an antagonist or a series of antagonists, and it's probably an internal one. But you're running a business. Why would you want conflict? Because your business solves that conflict, and your content is about the transformation journey. So I have an all-in-one storytelling toolkit which helps you figure out all the components to your story. And in it, I have just added what I'm calling the antagonist bank, which is a list of antagonists that you can use. Some antagonists are not having enough time, procrastination, being a perfectionist, overthinking, an identity crisis, moving, career transition. These are all antagonists that you can weave into your story. Now, you can weave them into your story in a couple of ways, which brings me to my next point, and that is having a narrative. I usually suggest one of these 4 channel narratives. The first 2 tend to be more personal storytelling driven, and the second 2 tend to be more thought leadership driven. And they are being in a life transition or reinventing yourself. Maybe you are in a career transition. Maybe you've just retired. Maybe you're changing jobs. Maybe you're leaving your 9-to-5. This is all a life transition. If you are a musician or an artist, maybe you're reinventing yourself. Whenever Madonna or Taylor Swift or Beyonce has a new album that they're dropping, what do? They reinvent themselves. And the reason they reinvent themselves is because it's good storytelling. The next is battling an antagonist. That could be finances, that could be the economy, that could be AI. This is a great channel narrative for people that have health-related channels or fitness-related channels, but it is an antagonist that both you and your viewer are facing. Then you have solving a mystery, and it doesn't literally mean a mystery. It could be, but it's not necessarily a mystery, but it could be the mysteries of the universe. It could be the mystery of getting monetized. It could be the mystery of solving the algorithm. This particular narrative is less about your personal narrative, but it is more about your passion or your curiosity for getting answers to something or for a topic. So this is for a person that's going to be doing lots of deep dives, lots of investigation, lots of analysis. Maybe you're going to be doing demos. And lastly, you have being on a mission. This is for somebody who's kind of on the other end of some sort of challenge or struggle or some experience, and they want to help someone that's a little further behind solve that problem. Maybe you already went through retirement and you want to help people that are newly going through retirement. Maybe you're a mom of two and you're on a mission to help new moms not feel overwhelmed. So I want you to think about how you can connect your purpose to that channel narrative framework. Now, this is an opportunity for me to explain the difference between serialized storytelling and episodic storytelling. Serialized storytelling is what a lot of people think about when they think about TV. You start with the first episode, the pilot episode, and then you need to watch that episode to be able to watch episode 2, then episode 3, then episode 4, then episode 5. If you just jump in at episode 5, you kind of don't know what's going on, right? That is serialized storytelling. That is linear storytelling, right? You start here and you just keep proceeding down the line. The thing is that social media is nonlinear storytelling. People discover videos randomly. You don't really have control over whether they're going to discover episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, episode 4, or episode 5, right? It's whatever pops up into their screen. So serialized storytelling is very challenging on a platform like YouTube. Episodic storytelling is another story altogether. Episodic storytelling is storytelling that you can watch in any order, but there's something connecting it all. And a great example of that from the scripted world would be a show like Law & Order. If you've never seen an episode of Law & Order and you just jump into it, you can watch it. There's a case in that episode that begins and ends typically in that episode, and you could follow that one case, right? But you might also become invested in Olivia Benson's story or the central conflict on that show, and then, like me, you haven't left your couch for several hours, right? Then there's also talk shows. Talk shows are typically episodic storytelling, right? You could watch today's episode and have missed the last couple of episodes. Or you could watch today's episode and be like, you know what I want to watch? The episode that happened last Wednesday. And you could watch it in any order. That's episodic storytelling. That's the type of storytelling that works well on YouTube. You still do what you do, which is to create videos to be discovered in somebody's feed. So that storytelling still works, but you want to add an extra layer on it so that they want to keep watching. So now we've gotten your viewer to the end of your video, but how do we get them to binge? Now, I call it a YouTube cliffhanger because it's similar to a TV cliffhanger in that a TV cliffhanger happens at the end of the episode when the problem in that episode has been solved, right? But they want you to watch the next episode. So what do? They introduce the next problem. They tease the next problem. So then you're like, oh my God, what is that problem? And so then you want to click on the next episode. So what you can do on YouTube is do something similar in that the problem in that one video has ended, and now you, in your closing, can lead them to the next problem. So the best way to do that is to use end cards. And you can use end cards a couple of different ways. You can set it up to have one single video on an end card, and you can have YouTube select which video pops up. But you can also choose a specific video that will come up on that end card. And if you do that, then you can specifically queue that up. And you could say, hey, now that you've solved this problem, you can watch this video and it's gonna help you with this other related problem. It should be a related problem. But here's the thing, it has to be a video that already exists. This is what a lot of people get wrong when they're creating series for YouTube. They tease an episode they haven't published yet. So if you do that, if you say to the viewer, in my next episode, I'm going to talk about this, well, you've just ended the binge session because that video doesn't exist. So they have to wait for it. Now you can get them to subscribe maybe, but in terms of binging, you've ended it because there's no episode. In a TV show, the other episode is right after. It exists because they publish a bunch of them so you can binge. But on YouTube, you have to actually send them to a video that exists. So you're actually sending them backwards to something that's in your library. So think about the videos that already exist on your channel and what can you drive that person to, because they may not have seen it. Just because it exists on your channel and it's an old video doesn't mean that that person has seen it. The last way is you can create a playlist and then use an end card that has a playlist on it. And you could say something like, if you would like to dive into this topic further, I have a whole playlist on it. And it's popping up right on the screen. And so hopefully then they click on that playlist and then they are binging. So with that being said, you have now created a binge-worthy channel. The next thing to do is to create your signature series. And for that, I'm going to lead you to the video that's popping up on the screen right now, where I give you 5 signature series ideas that you can start making today. And if you would like more information on how you can work with me, either one-on-one or by joining my community, you can get that information in my video description. Until next time, keep creating and keep thinking like a showrunner.